are asked from this. So let's study what is statistics. Okay. So first of all, let's start with the definition. It deals with the collection of numerical facts, that is data. Okay. I have used the term numerical facts, which is nothing but the data. So whenever the term data comes, okay, the data can be of 2 or 3 forms, which we will discuss later. Whenever we have the term data, you must understand that it can be analyzed, okay, counted, tabulated with the help of statistics. The first definition was given by Bowles, and he said that statistics is the counting of numerical data or classification of numerical data. But that was just a basic definition. This is the most elaborate definition of statistics, that in this case we classify, tabulate, interpret, analyze. All these things have to be done in case of statistics. Okay. All these things come under statistics only. So let's see how many types of data we have. Okay. This is the basic definition. It deals with the collection of numerical facts, that is data, the classification, tabulation and interpretation. So first we'll see what types of data we can have. The types of data. Now the classification of data can be done on 2 bases. The first basis is on the basis of source. Now on the basis of source, data is classified into 2 types. The first one is primary data and the second one is secondary data. So let's see one by one. What do we understand by primary data and secondary data? So guys, primary data is a data which is collected by investigation. Okay. So primary data is a data collected by investigation. Now what do I mean by investigation? Let's say I have to find out, or I have to create a data of the date of births of all the students in a class. Okay. So first way of doing this is by investigation. And by investigation I mean, let's ask each and every student that when is your date of birth. That can give me a data. So the first way is investigation, and this is known as primary data. Example, by asking students their date of births or DOBs. I'm writing the short form here. By asking students their DOBs, I can create a data, but this data will be known as the primary data. The second one is secondary data. This is a data collected from an existing source. Now see, this will make a difference. Let's suppose here also the task is same. I need to know all the date of births. But here what I am doing is, I am watching the date of births, or I am recording the date of births from the register of a class. Okay, attendance register or some registration numbers. From there I am collecting all the date of births, and that will make a difference. Now guys, can you tell me which will be the more accurate data? Now secondary data will be the more accurate one, because it is coming from a more reliable source. It is coming from a more reliable source. Therefore, this is a precise data. Example we will write. Finding the DOBs from register of class. So this is the other way of finding the date of births. The first way and the second way, the primary data and the secondary data. Out of these 2 data, secondary data is always the most reliable data. Right. So this is a classification of data on the basis of source. And this classification can also be done on the basis of grouping. Let's see. On the basis of grouping, this can be classified into ungrouped data and group data. And this ungrouped data is also known as raw data. So the data can be of two types, raw data or ungrouped data. They are the same things. And the second one is group data. Right. So let's write the definitions. The data obtained in the original form is known as the raw data. So data obtained in original form, this is known as the raw data. Example, let's see. I have a class of 15 students. I want to record the marks obtained by each student in mathematics. So, first of all, I will just ask each and everyone, or I can obtain the data from a register. Okay, primary data or secondary data. I can do it any of the ways. And I can write this data. Let's suppose the marks are from 100, 73, 92, 41. Let's say there are only 10 students to make it easier. 63, 71, 94. So 6 we have, 55, 54, 90. And let's say one is a genius one who has scored 100 marks. Okay. So the data obtained in the original form, this data is not grouped. This data is presented as it was found. So this data will be the raw data. Okay. I just recorded each and every marks and I wrote it just like that. That will be the example of a raw data. And if I try to classify this data into some intervals or into some groups, this will be known as a group data. Okay. So write down the most precise definition. I will write it down. Raw data can be organized by constructing a table showing frequency distribution. And this data is known as a group data. Now you can see, I can classify all these marks like this. Like some students have scored from 40 to 50, some have scored from 50 to 60, 60 to 70, and so on like this till 90 to 100. So what I'm trying to do here is, I'm trying to create groups of, let's say, size 10, or we can make the groups of size 20 or 30. As per the requirement, we can make some groups. So feel the difference between the raw data and the group data. Raw data is also known as ungrouped data. This will be the most used term, ungrouped data. Okay. But if raw data comes, so you have to understand this are the pretty much same things. So first of all, we'll see the ungrouped data and what are the terms needed in the whole statistics. We will understand them one by one. So in the case of ungrouped data, the terms which are very much used, the first one is known as the range and the second one is frequency. Now let's see the definition of range. It is the difference between of the maximum and minimum value of a variable. Now let's see example. Let's suppose the marks obtained by 10 students are 10, 12, out of 50 I'm writing 45, 46, 38, 37, 25, 26, 7 and let's suppose 1. Okay, so these are the marks obtained by some 10 students, right? These are the marks obtained by 10 students in mathematics test. Now I have to find the range of this data. Now the range of this ungrouped data, you can see clearly that this is an ungrouped data because I just wrote the marks as it is. So this is the raw form of data. So in this case of ungrouped data, the range will be the difference between the maximum and the minimum values. So the difference between the maximum and the minimum values, as you can see, this is coming out to be 45. So the difference between the maximum and the minimum values is equal to 45. Then therefore the range of this data will be equal to 45, right? And let's also write the next definition, which is frequency. Now understand the concept of frequency. This is the number of observations, or you can write this like this also, the telemarks. The telemarks, this can be the first definition. The second will be count of marks, or the third definition actually, which was I was going to write in the first place. The third definition is for the group data. Okay, but I will write it anyways. This is the number of observations in a particular class. In a particular class. So let's see what is the meaning of telemarks. We've been studying telemarks from a 6th or 7th standard. You must be aware of this term. But anyhow, if you don't know, I'll explain it again. Let's suppose the marks obtained, I'm reducing the scale, marks obtained out of 10. Now marks obtained out of 10 are, let's say, 7, 6, 9, 5, 4, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 7, 7, 2, 8, 9, 1. Okay. So these are the marks obtained by some number of students out of 10. Right. Now in this case, I want to write the frequency. Let's write this 7 again a couple of times. Now I want to note the frequency. In this case, what is the meaning of frequency? That how frequent is a particular mark. Now if I want to see the frequency of 4, the frequency of 4 here will be equal to 2, because 4 is coming 2 times here. So the frequency of 4 is equal to 2. If I want to see the frequency of, let's say, 7, now the frequency of 7 will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it is coming 5 times. So the count of marks, or the count of numerical data, this will give you the frequency. Right? What do I mean by telemarks? You must know that this 2, if numerically this frequency is coming out as 2, we denote it by 2 ones or 2 bars, right? And this 5 will be denoted like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, and to complete a package of 5, we put a cross here. You must remember this from 6th or 7th class, or some movies where they count years or months or something, that after completing 5, we put a cross on all these 4 bars, right? And if I want to write 10, then how will I write 10? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and if I want to write, let's say, 19, 2, 3, 4, right? So this is the meaning of telemarks. I'll not waste time on this one. So frequency of 4 is equal to 2 here, and frequency of 7 is equal to 5. Now what do I mean by number of observations in a particular class? Now let's try to plot this data. Let's try to group this data. Okay. Now the marks obtained are as it is. I will try to make it a grouped data. And how will I try to do that? Let's find out. First of all, I'll see all the people, or all the kids, or all the students who have marks from 0 to 2. Then I will see the students having marks from, let's say, 3 to, or let's say 2 to 4, and then 4 to 6, 6 to 8, 8 to 10. Right? So what I'm saying here is the number of observations in a particular class. So first of all, you have to understand what a class is. When I try to group them, I will present some intervals, right? That this is the first interval. This is the first interval of marks 0 to 2. So all the students having marks between 0 and 2 will come under this one. So the frequency here will be the count of all the students who have marks between 0 and 2. But you have to notice one thing, that in this class 0 to 2, 2 should not be included and 0 will be included. Similarly, in this class from 2 to 4, 2 will be included, 4 will not be included, 4 is included, 6 is not included, 6 is included, 8 not, and 10 is not included. Right? So 0 to 2. Let's see how many students have marks from 0 to 2. This is just one. 2 to 4, how many students have? Let's see, first and second, only 2. Then we have 4 to 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, this one we don't have to count. 6 we don't have to count. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 we don't need to count. And only these ones, so we have just 4. So this is how we write down the frequency of a group data. So in the case of group data, let's go step by step only. The first 3 terms which we need to learn are, first one is class or class interval. So first term is class or class interval. So this is class or class interval. This is also written as CI. The second thing is class width or class size. And the third one is class mark. So we'll see step by step what is the meaning of all these 3 terms. So let's suppose I have a data like this, like 10 to 20, then I have 20 to 30, then I have 30 to 40, and the frequencies or the count of marks here are 1, 2 and 3. Okay. So here 10 to 20 will be the first class. So 10 to 20 is the first class or the first class interval, right? And here we can see that the class width from the name it is pretty much clear that the class width here will be equal to 10 only, because the difference between the upper and the lower limit is equal to 10. That is the size of a class, right? So the size of the class here is equal to 10. And the last part, class mark, I'll discuss. But first of all, also understand 2 things: lower limit and upper limit. So can you tell me what is the lower limit or L of this class? So the lower limit L will be equal to 20 and U will be equal to 30. So we can simply say that the class width of a class is given by U minus L. Right? So U minus L will be equal to class width. The class mark will be U plus L by 2. The middlemost entry of this class. The middlemost entry of this class will be the mean of upper limit and lower limit. So class mark in this case will be equal to 25. In this case, class mark will be equal to mean of 30 and 40, which is 35. And the class mark of this one will be equal to 15. So class width is equal to U minus L. This is U plus L by 2. And class interval is, just we are writing it like this only, 10 to 20. Okay. So this is a process of group data, like how to write down a group data. So you also need to understand 2 or 3 more things. This is always denoted as Xi, and the frequency is always denoted by Fi. So frequency is denoted by Fi and the class mark is denoted by Xi. Right? So this is very helpful in finding out the mean as well as the median as well as the mode of all the datas, Xi and Fi. Right? So I can write this group data like this also, that the class is 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40. So this is the class interval, this is the frequency, and Xi value will be equal to 15, 25 and 35. So this is a tabular form of the data, right? Now let's understand the concept of a new type of frequency which is known as cumulative frequency. So let's understand the concept of cumulative frequency. Concept of cumulative frequency. Now in this concept, the first definition is, it is defined as the running total of frequencies. So the running total of frequencies is known as cumulative frequency. The second one is, it is defined as the sum of frequencies, all the frequencies up to that class. Now if you're not able to understand the definitions, it is pretty easy definition, self-explanatory. Running total of frequencies, or the defined as the sum of all the frequencies up to that class. So let's try to see. So first of all, I am writing class intervals 20 to 25, 25 to 30, 30 to 35. So these are the class intervals. Can you write the class marks? Class mark, can you write? Just try it out. So the class mark in this case will be the mirrormost value, 17.5, 22.5, 27.5 and 32.5. Let's say the frequencies are 5, 3, 8 and 6. So can you tell me what is the cumulative frequency of each class? Now guys, cumulative frequency is the running flow of the running total of all the frequencies. So the running total of first one will be only 5. The running total of second class, it will be the sum of first and second frequencies. So sum of all the frequencies up to that class. So previous all the frequencies we have to add. So this will become 8. And in the third case it will become 16. And the last one it will become 22. So cumulative frequency will be given like this. And you can see that the sum total of all the frequencies is coming out as 22 as well. So the cumulative frequency is equal to, of the last class is equal to the sum total of